there. It still makes it...
Well, I think for sure he doesn't want any harm to come to Sherry. That's why he lied.
Right.
That's why he continued to lie. That's why he said that he killed Sherry. Because he doesn't want anyone to keep looking.
But as for himself...
he would take her back.
I guess, yeah. Would he? I don't know. We don't know for sure. We don't know.
I say 100%.
Well, after this incident, and she's not there. He brought the pretzel and beer. He's pissed, and then he went back and just basically he figures, because she even says I might not make it. So for him, the fact that they went back in the first place, when they were out there in the first place and went back to Negan and caused all this, there's a good chance she probably didn't make it. So he figures, what the hell? There's no point.
We're definitely seeing her again.
Well, yeah, I get that. I'm just trying to. Okay, let's just focus on what we see now. What could Dwight be saying? What could Dwight be thinking right now? Is that he just says, "Screw it. I'm just going to keep up what I was doing, and that's it." That could be one way to look at it.
Well, I think so, because it's better than the alternative.
Exactly.
But also, everything to do with Sherry, he's just trying to keep her safe. What's the best alternative? What's the best option to keep her safe at this point? I'm going to frame a doctor, and I'm going to say that she's dead, and we'll see what happens after that.
Right. Well, I think that's just to cover what happened. He has to cover her tracks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's it too, and has to cover his tracks just as well.
Yeah.
So he has to come back with a story and a solution for him to get out of that funk that he has with Negan.
Exactly.
So I'm just saying, Sherry's safety may be a priority, but it also could be looked at as not entirely his priority.
Okay, I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, we are. So, I just felt like it just could be looked at two different ways, which is, I feel like that's what I find intelligent about this episode, because it's still on a 50-50 track. There's no, I feel like, you think you're trying to cement his, as much as I said before, it looks like he's cementing his way of being Negan, but maybe it's actually deviating his course. And a lot of characters are doing that too. Like we were talking about Morgan last week.
Yeah.
And then now Eugene, and then, Eugene's still going to be up for debate later on too.
Well, Eugene has always just...
a coward.
But Eugene has admitted that he will take the path of least resistance. He is going to do whatever it takes to be safe. Mm-hmm. If he has to lie his way to being protected, he'll do that. Right. And I don't think that his allegiances lie with Alexandria. I don't really think they lie with Alexandria, because they're kind of jerks to him.
I don't know about that. No,
Rosita,
it's only Rosita. It's only Rosita. Rosita's not Alexandria, Matthew.
Yeah, but Rosita is his longest friend.
Right, but it doesn't matter. He's been valued by other people. He was valued, especially after when he decided to drive that RV without Maggie on it.
Yeah, well, he failed that too.
He failed that. I don't know if maybe he told them where they were too, which could be easily, which after what we see in this episode, it could have easily been an attribute of his to basically just spill the beans.
Yeah,
but he was clearly beaten and traumatized too. He did that self-sacrifice, and we looked at Eugene as just like, oh my god, we might not see Eugene next season, and then turns out we didn't, and he did that righteous thing. So does that attribute go away?
I don't think he ever did anything righteous. I think he
did go on the RV, and he did. Do you think maybe he sold them out?
No, but
we don't know. That happens.
I think he went on that RV because that RV was, in his mind, the safest place to be, because he's going to go to a place where all the action isn't happening. He's going on his own somewhere. Everybody else is going somewhere else. So if Negan and his people...
Oh, no, I disagrry. He took that RV to sacrifice himself for them to follow that RV, and they would go on foot to go to Hilltop. That was the point of what he was doing. That's why it was so dramatic when he went on that RV. Matthew.
Yeah, but I'm saying that for him, in his mind, that is the safest place for him to be. He's in an RV.
To be captured by
well, he obviously didn't know he'd be captured.
I guess he did. That was the point. That's the reason why he got on.
No, he did not.
They all said goodbye to him to say that they might not see him again.
No, they all said goodbye because nobody knew what was going to happen.
Right, okay, but there's a good chance that he was going to be seen again.
There's a good chance none of them were going to be seen again.
Okay, that's right. But for him, the most, because they're following his RV. They're tracking the RV that he's driving. So he basically sacrificed himself. That's. I remember watching that episode just being, okay, there's a good chance that
I think we took different things from that episode.
Well, maybe we did, but I'm pretty sure.
Everyone was very surprised to see Eugene captured, and so quickly, and that he was like on his knees and crying.
Yes, we take that in context now from the knowledge we gained from this episode. Yes, I agree with that. But before, that's what I was saying. I was saying, for argumentative, does he lose that attribute for what he did? Because you got from the context you got from this episode.
But I'm saying I don't. But I'm saying this is not something we're seeing eye to eye on. So we got to move on.
Well,
we're not even talking about the right episode right now.
No, we're not. But I'm just saying is that because what's up for
we're moving on. Well, we're not talking about an episode from last season.
No, we're not. But I'm just trying to say is that what we learned today, does that affect what you saw last season?
You know it doesn't, because I've already told you about how I feel.
Okay.
So just re-listen to this if you want to know. I'm not rehashing something I said 5 minutes ago. So Eugene takes authority in the factory marketplace.
Yeah, decides to take away everything. Cuts in line.
Yeah, and this is because Negan's wives plead with Eugene to make suicide pills for Amber, who they claim wants to take her life. And Eugene reluctantly agrees, so he goes in to get some cold capsules. The woman doesn't want to give him up right away, but then he, gets some courage somewhere.
He does.
Realizes that, he can do whatever he wants. So he walks up, he says that he wants her number, says that, he was handpicked by Negan, he's her boss, and he wants the capsules, he wants that weird Ghibli gunk thing.
I don't know what this is, but I'm called a Ghibli gunk.
This is such a child. So he took away all of his power right there, where he's like, I don't even know what this is. I'm going to call him Ghibli gunk.
Just because he could.
Yeah, and then a slew of other stuff. He takes everything out of the...
Pretty much.
Like all that medication. Other people needed that medication.
The thing is that, okay, did you find it... I had a hard time buying into this. So when we go back to that scene where they're asking him to conjure up this pill...
Yeah.
First of all, it's for who's it? What's her name? Rhonda? No, not Rhonda. Jesus. Amber. It was Amber. Yeah. Rhonda. It's for Amber.
Rowdy Rhonda.
Okay. It's for Amber. Yeah. And they're all just saying you are a good man. You are going to do this. You want to do this because you're a good man. Yeah. And he's obviously he's on the fence with it, and he decides to do it. But like the way they try to convince him, it's like. She had to do this, her mom was on medication, she can't work is the thing that I think that was the least convincing lie.
Oh yeah.
She can't work. What do you mean you can't work? What happened? Like the post-apocalypse really feel like, no, I have to keep to my ways where I did not work ever in my life. Yeah, I had to, you might as well be dead. So then how could you, I just don't understand how that is a reason for you not to kill yourselves. I can't work. So I can't, I guess, no, actually then you know what? After further on reflection, if you can't work in the post-apocalypse, then maybe you should die. Yeah. If she can't work.
It's like, she'd rather kill herself than have to spend a day on the floor doing any kind of work.
But then on the bigger picture here is Eugene he decides to say yes, this is the better thing. And how does he think that he just got into the sanctuary? Yeah, sort of has Negan's trust. Like, okay, you know what? I'm down to make suicide pills for one of Negan's wives. Negan would understand. I don't understand the logic to that. Yeah. So this whole thing kind of...
And the fact that he has to sign for everything, it's just going to draw it all back to him.
Yeah, I don't understand. He signs it, and he takes... Well, he signed after he took off everything, didn't he?
Well, he signed for the cold capsules,
and then he took
everything. And then he took everything and didn't sign for it. Or, I don't know. It was signed for, I'm sure. The woman probably filled it in, but still, it's all leading back to him. It's a paper trail.
Exactly. So I don't understand why he thought, and I'm saying, and as he's making these things, I'm just like, how is he going to convince Negan to say, well, she needs to kill herself. She can't work. Yeah. And it's just, okay, well, I understand how he just bought into their logic and said, this is the right thing to do right now, especially if you're going to be somebody who is somebody who's going to basically go with the least amount of resistance. That is probably the worst decision.
Yeah, but all that theory flies to the wind, when you are spoken to by girls, especially for someone like Eugene. I guess you get some attention, some female attention. You're going to do some crazy things.
I suppose. She didn't even give him a massage. She didn't have to give him a massage.
Well, he's terrified of what Negan's going to do. He's like,
yet he says, "Okay, well, I will make suicide pills."
Yeah,
for you.
That's tomorrow's problem.
That's clearly
he can just make sugar pills for all he cares.
Placebo. Yeah, he went through all that, took everything he needed there to make placebo
for a nice little montage, a little Breaking Bad montage. Yeah. So he makes the capsules. Long story short, he makes them. Now Dwight has a conversation with the doctor, who says it's a long conversation back and forth. Not even that long, but I didn't really get what they were saying. Basically, the doctor said
he quoted Dr. Seuss.
What?
He quoted Dr. Seuss. Like he's got a big heart.
The doctor says that we don't get to have a big heart.
That's right.
We don't get to have big hearts. Remember that. So another point where the doctor's like, if you're going to remember anything, Dwight, you remember this. We don't get to have big hearts. Now, Dwight is having some sort of memory flash. I don't understand.
Maybe.
Where it seems like he's onto something with the doctor and Sherry. Like, did the doctor and Sherry ever have some kind of relationship?
Yeah, and he flashed back to the picture frame, right?
They flashed back to the picture frame. They also had this weird image, this weird moment where Dwight I imagine in a memory, is holding a handful of lollipops.
Yeah.
You remember that? Like a bunch of those lollipops, and like that wasn't happening in the moment. So this is a memory, and this memory is somehow leading him to come up with this plan to frame the doctor.
Would you call it bad edit, or would you call it really strategic? I don't know.
Editing wise?
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that doesn't make sense to me. And
Okay.
if you don't really remember it, I feel like
I do remember it.
But you don't know
Did
the significance,
did I
right?
make it out of something? Did I make it out to be something?
It definitely
No.
has significance.
I guess so,
But
yeah,
we
maybe.
don't know why.
I mean, it ties well to your theory about his memory thing, but like, if it's okay, let's say, okay, your memory theory works. I'd be a little ticked off that they spring this on us now.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
the
don't
thing.
like that memory thing. I
Exactly.
just feel like they're
Right.
trying to, retrograde this whole Dwight experience by giving him a condition now
Right.
to try and explain events in the past.
Yeah, can you imagine all of a sudden, like, they decide to identify, Michonne's condition all of a sudden, she technically, she was supposed to have one, and now they bring it up now, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little overdue. So imagine if they do eventually do that, that would be, abrasive, would be very, obtrusive in a certain way to the character.
Yeah.
So with Dwight, so if this memory thing is true, I'd be a little upset that they brought it up now, because why does it has to have an effect now as opposed to when you had, like, a couple episodes on his own that didn't really have an effect on anything.
And the thing is, it didn't really change anything.
No, it
him
doesn't.
Not having a good memory is, I couldn't care less about it.
But he's
because
remembering Sherry very well. He's not like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
and he's
it's-
remembering holding these lollipops, like a good handful of lollipops.
Yeah, I don't know why they focus on the lollipops. It's not even where he put the note. They said he found it in his drawer, right?
Yeah,
And we
so-
find it later on. Okay, yeah. So as we go on, but like,
Hold on a second.
or did he put it in his stash of goods? Isn't that what he said?
Did they say they found the note in his drawer?
I don't remember. I thought it was drawer, but then I
So
remember something about
maybe
goods.
this was just weird editing where he put that little bit of note in his
Yeah,
drawer
that's what I'm thinking
and then
too.
also took a handful of lollipops because doctors have candies, to offer.
Right.
It's weird, and he wouldn't really offer any of the saviors a lollipop. I wouldn't want to be the one to have to offer them a lollipop.
But you don't offer it to him. You just leave it on the side. You just take it.
So maybe that explains it. But the editing was strange because it looked
is.
like a memory. But
I think overall, all this is strange. A lot of it's strange. As much as I like what I saw with the characters, like the way I feel like so far in The Walking Dead, everything the way they get to things is always a questionable thing. It's nothing clear. It's nothing
never a direct
definitive.
path.
Yeah, exactly. Then you see the result. Okay, I guess we'll go with that. But imagine when you want to think back on the episode. Remember when they did that? You're not gonna really remember. I find I'm gonna pull a Dwight here. It's not remembering how they got to where they did because it's a strange way to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, how did they get to where they did? Oh, doesn't remember that weird edit? You're not going to remember it. It's something that you eventually get there, and it's just a way to get from point A to point B, and that's it. There's nothing memorable about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that I went on a huge tangent there. Maybe people are doing the same thing right now as they're listening. But I feel like it's what I'm trying to say is the Walking Dead's approach on getting from point A to point B is not very maybe definitive, but just trying to understand how they did doesn't make any sense.
No.
And it goes even to that whole clotheslining thing, the clotheslining episode.
Yeah.
Why did they have to do what they did? I don't know. It looked cool. It looked great, and they got to where they had to get to, but I still don't completely understand what they were doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you're doing a math test and you get to the right answer.
Show your work.
But then there's like, show your work. And you're just like, well, I use the calculator. I don't have any work to show. So you just write tons of numbers and you scratch things out and you just make a mess of all of,
Yeah.
of that little box where it says show
Try
your
to
work.
lick it, smudge it a little bit too.
Yeah. So it's like, well, it's in there somewhere. It's a little muddled, but we got the right answer.
Yeah,
we got where we want to be. So they definitely have some work to do on this. So
Yeah, so
we have Eugene now. He's brought over to witness another face burning. It's all the saviors. They're all watching this face burning again. And at first I thought it was going to be Eugene
yeah.
for agreeing to make these pills. And
That's
it was
what I thought
all
too.
A test.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was actually the doctor who Dwight has framed but by leaving that little bit of a note saying honey or
Go,
bye,
honey,
or
go now.
Go now. Oh, that one, yeah. So go now. Negan now gets the doc to admit that he's set Daryl free because he knew that Sherry couldn't stand seeing him locked up. Now, the doc only says this because he doesn't want to get his face burned.
That's right.
Negan is saying, if you just admit it, I'm not going to have to burn your face. How does he think that admitting it is going to make it any better?
But before that, like even when Negan draws that conclusion, I know all in all the result